Hey everyone, this is Laura at Lyman Joy, and today I'm going to share with you how I set up my monthly budget from my bills to my cash envelopes, sinking funds, and how much I'm doing on my debt, and how I figure all that out. So let's get into it. All right, let's get into the budget for today. I'm really excited to get my month all set up for the month of May and make sure that every dollar has a home so that I can make sure to maximize how much money that I'm receiving this month. If you're new to budgeting, you're in the right place. I'm going to go ahead and tell you exactly what to do if this is your first time. Grab that pen and paper. That's all you need, and I can show you step by step, or you can always find anything that I show in this video at the Lyman Joy Company, where I have all my downloadable printable forms for you. All right. For those of you that don't know me, I am Laura at Lyman Joy. I'm a wife, a medical coder, and a mom of 6, and I'm on a journey to become debt-free and break the generational cycles of debt so the next generation can live and give like they were meant to. So if it interests you, then please hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up, because it really does help push out my video and others can find freedom and help hopefully some support along the way. All right, let's go ahead and get into today's budget. I can't believe we're already in May, almost at that halfway mark for the year. It's coming up quick, and that's pretty amazing. It's just flying by. All right, so we went ahead and closed up the month just a few days ago. If you didn't see how to close up my budget, I'll put it right here, but I closed up the month of April, and now we're going to step into May. And the way that you step into a good budget well is you need to make sure to really have a good picture of where you are going. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. We are going to go ahead and look at some unique things to consider, special occasions, budget updates. This is really important to me. This is my overview. Many people will, and if you are a planner, I say and go for it. Do what fills up your boat, but they'll put, some stickers, reminders of every single bill that's due for every single day right here on this. I don't find that to be effective, or it's just way too time consuming for me. So instead of doing that every month, I like to just do things as simple as I can possibly think of it. And in fact, you'll have to see here coming up in July, I am thinking about refining my process just to make it more simple, because you know what? Time is money, and the less time we can waste on, frivolous things or things that we can simplify things, the better. So I have 5 paychecks that happen every month for me. The first cash stuffing is in one color. The second cash stuffing, is in another color, and the third is in another. So I can see when my paychecks are coming, and all the bills, from the first cash stuffing will be paid all the way to the third one, and so on until the 5th one, making sure that every bill is accounted for. Okay, so some things to consider this month are, well, let's see. I have Memorial Day weekend coming up. And this is a big deal for me. We are remodeling parts of our house, and we're doing it completely ourselves. We are DIYers to the T. We not only like to do it, but then we actually like to learn it, even take some courses in it if we have to, and make sure it's done right. So we just ripped out our entire wall between my kitchen and my living room. And we are gonna hire a structural engineer to come and make sure we are not removing any beams that are structural. But with that said, Memorial Day weekend is a great time to go ahead and get any new appliances or things like that. They're massive sales. So make sure if you have something working on the fritz, like your washer dryer or your refrigerator, this may be the weekend to take out that sinking fund that you've saved up for your house, for a house fund or a maintenance fund, and go and buy that appliance instead of waiting for it being full price and when it actually breaks. Just something to think about. Then you could take your appliance that maybe isn't so good and sell it for a really discounted price for those that maybe are okay with having, an extra refrigerator in the garage or whatever. So that's something that I'm definitely been thinking about, looking at my funds and seeing what I can do to utilize my money and make it stretch the best I can. And then I also need to think about Mother's Day, right? We got Mother's Day coming up. I want to make sure those cards get in the mail and on their way. And then I also have my friends, we'll call her Miss A's birthday. coming up, and I want to make sure to have something sweet set aside and put together for her. All right, and as for budget updates, I don't have anything this month, but next month I do. I will tell you in just a minute how my essential bills are going to be more. So I'll tell you about that in just a few minutes. Okay. So now I went ahead and I started kind of mapping out, these are everything that I have to pay in the month, all right, for bills. I include groceries and gasoline in my bills because without that, I can't survive. So these are all my essentials per se. Now, as it goes for my amounts, now when I did this the very first time, and if you are doing this the very first time, you're going to want to go ahead and pull all those bank statements and all that spending, and I want you to look at the last 3 months, or if you really want to get a good view, the last 6 months. And how much money did you spend in groceries? How much did you spend in gasoline? How much is your rent or mortgage? And so on and so forth, creating every single category. And if you have, for instance, 3 months where you spent 700 and 3 months where you spent 900, I would go with the 900. Always expect less for your income and always expect more for your bills. That way you always have extra and you're never short. Okay. So let's go ahead and get my last budget though. So once you've now done it, and let's say you've done a budget one time, where do I get the numbers from? I get it from my closeout. This is why closeouts are so amazing to me, because I was able to really look at my real numbers versus my budgeted numbers. All right. So let's just go ahead and we're just going to pull this sucker out and I'll put it back in just a minute so that we can do this budget a little more easily. All right. So when I planned last month, I went ahead and did the exact same thing. I went ahead and like I am doing right now, I got all the numbers from the month before and I budgeted them. Now I'm going to not only get the numbers from the month before, but I am going to do anything that was higher or lower. I'm going to change it appropriately so that I can make sure that I have exactly the amount of money and the exact actual amount that I spent last month. So first up for tithing, I always do 11%. So I'm projecting to have 11,500. So 11% would be times 0.11, right? Yes, 1260. So 1265, excuse me. All right. Now for groceries. All right. I did $11.92 last month. And if you watched my closeout, it was just, there was things. There was things that happened. Okay. It shouldn't have happened, but it did. So I spent way over $492. But instead of just going crazy and changing my budget to that much money, because y'all, I can't afford that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to up it by 100 and try to stay a little more conservative this month because I need to hone that in for sure if I want my debt payoff to accelerate. So we got $800 in groceries. All right. My gasoline, I had budgeted for 700 and I helped somebody who was living out of town quite a few times. So I overspent by 43, but really I would have been way under if I didn't help somebody move. So I'm going to stay with that 700 because I think it actually is enough. And I don't plan on helping anybody out of town this month. So then $24.50 for my mortgage. This is what's changing next month. I just got notified that my mortgage is going up to $2,700 because of insurance here in California. Yes, we are feeling inflation in all levels and even in our mortgages as well as rent. So that's fantastic. That's great, isn't it? Okay, so next is dyslexia school. This is for my son, $795. And I am considering doing a summer program for English for him because he really took about quite a few years to be able to read because he has dyslexia, dysgraphia, and dyscalculia. And so he's now going to eighth grade and going into ninth, and he really wants to try to get better at writing before high school hits, which he knows is going to be hard. And I found this really cool program that is curated just for somebody like him to do it at home where they teach you something on the computer and then you actually get to do the lesson, and you can even pay to send it in, and somebody who's trained and professional can grade it and give some advice how to get better. Because I'm good at writing, but I don't know if I'm really good at teaching somebody like my amazing son, whose mind works beautifully but differently than mine. So I want somebody who's really good not to do that. So, and then Banfield, I'm going to go ahead and do 40. And then Vivint, we're doing 17. My donations, I'm going to keep at 80. My cable bill will do, let's see here, we'll just keep it at 100 because it's a $2 difference. And my subscriptions I had at 80, but it was 90, so we're going to go with 90. And then my cable and electric, and if you are new here, what I do is I go ahead and I pay off credit cards and then I put bills on them. And so at the beginning of the month, that card gets charged, and then like a week later, my bill pay from my bank pays it, so I never accrue any interest, but it looks like I have a really good available credit for my credit score, so that's been really good, and I make points off of them. People say you don't make enough to do anything, but that has not been the case for me. We have paid for 2 plane tickets already, and I've only been doing this for a year, so it's been beneficial. Maybe it depends on the card. Okay, phone bill, I am at 306. Right here, and it was different from the 289, and I actually told my husband to give him a call and see what is going on, so I'll give you an update once I find out about that. The student loan is actually 460. I was just always rounding up, so we're going to lower that. Car payment, that'll be nice when that's done here soon. Word of advice, don't ever get a car payment. They are such a waste. Okay. Another credit card that was paid off, but I don't really have much on there. I actually just left 100 because I need it to look like I'm still paying, but I need to put a bill on there so that I can really revolve and do something good. City car insurance. So my city credit card was paid off and my car insurance is on there for myself, my husband, and my daughter. And then we go ahead and pay that. My Home Depot card, same thing. I don't really have anything on there. It's just sitting there at like 100 and I just try to pay it. And it's even at 0 interest, because if you do big buys, then you can do 0 interest. So, but yeah. Anyway, let's see here. Solar, we got 225. Oh, I missed one. Kohl's is 30. Same thing, nothing's on there. It used to be Kohl's, now it's just a Capital One card. My solar went up to 225. And then my car wash, 32. I'd love to do no car wash, but here where I live in the city, they don't like you doing car washes at your house. They get really upset if you do, so I have to pay for car wash. Okay, and Gab Kids phone, which is amazing, is a phone that looks like a smartphone, but for kids, that has 0 internet, so your kids are safe, and my son loves it. Of course, he wants social media, but you know what? I am not doing that. We are not having that discussion. We're just going to move on. I think that adults should have it and not kids. So if you haven't seen the Gab Kids phone, please look into it because it's been amazing. I absolutely love it. And they have a watch. So if you don't want to do the whole phone thing at all, but you need to be able to communicate with your child at school or something, get them the smartwatch that doesn't connect to the internet so they're still safe, but you can talk to them and you can know where they are. All right. Amazon is 40 and water and trash is 125. I got my Gardener at 120 and Aurora, which is a company that helps you with your identity theft. I have had people hack into different things, and so I love them. They're right on it. They send you alerts, and then they take care of it. If they need any paperwork, they file it for you. So who doesn't love that? Peace of mind. And then I have life insurance that I just started doing, and that is fantastic. So we're going to do that for $150. It's perfect. All right. So I'm going to add this up really quickly and see how much we are looking at projected. All right, 87.47. Let's go ahead and put that here. So my income that I think I'm going to get is this much. This is based off of my projected hours. I'm hourly, my husband's salary. So last month I got less because I knew I worked less hours. I had some big things to do with my kiddos and I was blessed to be able to do that. But if you're hourly, that means you make less, okay? So this month is a little bit calmer, so I can go ahead and work a little more. So 11,500 is what I am projecting. And then my total expenses that I think will happen based off of what happened the last month is 8,747. That leaves me how much left over? Let's see here. All right, 2753. Perfect. Then I'm going to go and put this right back, and then we'll move on to my cash envelopes and my debt payoff. And this part I think is really important. I was just asked in a recent video, how do I figure out how much money to put into each cash envelope? And if you haven't planned out what your sinking funds should be and which ones you should have and how much money you should have in each one, that's kind of a strategic thing and a personal thing that I went ahead and did at the beginning of the year. And I kind of thought about what my family and my budget needs are. So if you need to do that, I'm going to put a video here about sinking funds and how to plan them out and how to budget them. There's like a printable for free paper on there that you can go ahead and print out and figure those out. Okay. And figure out your goals. Even this far in the year, if you haven't and you're just watching this, perfect. It's the perfect time. Now is the perfect time. Start now. It doesn't matter about what happened. It matters about what we are going to do, and finishing well this year is probably the most important thing. Okay. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and update my debt snowball, my cash envelopes, and my sinking funds. And my leftover was at 2753. And please don't be discouraged if yours is any different. Here's the thing. When I first started, it was maybe 100, maybe 200 that was left over after doing all of my bills. And I'm telling you, that was with me budgeting very small amounts. Like I remember groceries was like $3.50 a month. I remember gas being even lower. And just the things grow over the years, but I've also been paying off debt for 3 years. So my debt snowball has grown over those years, making it so that more leftover. But unfortunately, because of my poor choices and because of medical debt, my daughter had 7 open heart surgeries, and that put us into tremendous amounts of debt. Because of that, now that I have been paying for so much, we can't use that money. Instead, we have to use that towards our debt, which we're getting close to, but not quite at. And I will share that with my cash stuffings as I do every week on Friday if you want to see that. All right. So I have a debt snowball going, but I also opened up a HELOC. So debt snowball was last 2 years. This year I opened up a HELOC, took all of my debt and put it into one very low fixed APR for an interim time period. This is a HELOC as a second position loan on my house, and it actually really helps rocket launch paying off that principal. So that's not for everybody. You need to talk to somebody who's a financial advisor. I'm not, just a mom sharing my journey, but it's been working really well for us to get kind of really rocket launch our debt payoff. So now that we know how much money we're left over, I know that my debt snowball has to be that 1,200. Let's see what we're looking at now. I am going to kind of go with what I've been doing the last month because I've been in a no spend for 4 months in 2024, and it kind of worked really well. Let's just stick with that, so my eating out, date night, and childcare. Let's go back to, I did this last time. It was about the same. I had 25 left over last time. I have 27 left over this time. So I have a little bit more money to spend with, which is good. We'll put that right towards my debt on my HELOC. So let's do 45, 25, and 400. I like that. And like I said earlier, the first time that I figured these out was when I planned out all my sinking funds at the beginning of the year. If you've had a huge change in your budget, or your amount of income has changed, or your amount of debt has changed, or any circumstance really has changed, make sure you go back to those sinking funds, give it a second view. I'm actually going to do a whole reset and check in July because it's halfway through the year, and I think it's really wise to reassess, see your wins and losses, and what you need to do going forward. All right, for my sinking funds here, I like the 300. I don't like the no pet care, so I think I'm going to change a little bit of that. Let's go with 50 on car registration, 50 on pet care. I still need that 75 here and 75 here. I do not need as much for school. What do I got going for haircuts? 45 and 15. Yeah, let's do, I actually think I need a little more than 45. Let me see here. Let's do 50 for haircuts and 20 for clothing. Now, I'm in May purge. For May, I've decided to go through every single room in my house, get rid of anything that isn't bringing me joy, which means it's not being used, or it's just creating chaos and mess. Or for my kids, sometimes that's the million-piece toy that isn't played with anymore that can go find another home and somebody can pay me money for it. So I am doing that currently. I will, at my cash stuffings through the month, go ahead and share every single room some pictures of what I've sold and how much money and what I did with it. I usually reinvest it into the kids, making sure they have fully stocked clothes, shoes, bedding, all that kind of stuff, and making sure they're good. And I do that every few months. So I'm excited to do that. That's how my clothing costs can be so small, is because I am just a recycle, upcycle, get that cash and reinvest it kind of person. All right, we're gonna do 350 here. And then long-term savings, let's give every cash stuffing $300. This is some, things like, what do I got in there? I got car insurance, house maintenance, car maintenance, things like that. Okay, let's go with that 2753 minus the 475 and the 350 and the 300 is leaving me. That's not right. I did something wrong there. Let's try one more time. 2753 minus the 1200 minus 475 minus 350 minus 300. That leaves me $128 that I'm going to put towards my HELOC. Now, that is the minimum. What we got here? We got 1328. That's the minimum. I am going to try my very hardest to spend the least amount of money in groceries and gasoline and any other bill that I can too. And this is what I would suggest to you as well, especially if this is your first time setting it up. My husband and I just sat down and I said, can you call around for car insurances and see if we can get any better rates? He's going to do that. He's going to call the phone bill company and see if there's anything that we can take off or change on that one. And then we did look at our subscriptions. Unfortunately, I need these for my work and my business, so I can't do anything about that. And then, just being extra frugal with our electricity and our water and our trash and making sure that that's not accruing anymore. So just really trying to be frugal, stay within budget, save money, and even do extra things on the side. That's what we're doing this time. I also want to see how much I can save in these areas, meaning eating out, date night, childcare. If I cannot spend it, I will try not to. So I'll have leftover money to put more towards debt. So let's go ahead and see if we did this all right. We got after bills at that 2753. And my debt snowball turned out to be 1328 this month. I really hope it's much more than that, because that is not enough. Cash envelopes is 475. And my sinking funds are 350, and my long-term savings challenges is 300. Let me go ahead and see here. Oh goodness, I totally did my math wrong. You're probably on the other end going, no, that's wrong. It was not, yeah, it's 1200 plus 428. I totally did that wrong. 1628. Let's cross that out. 1628. Sorry, my friends. Okay, 2753, 1628, 475, 350, and 300 gives me zero base budget. So that's how I make sure every dollar has a home. Now, I get 5 paychecks like I showed you, and I'm going to do my first paycheck, which is my largest one, that's my husband's, and then combo two of my paychecks and do the cash stuffing, and two more paychecks and do cash stuffing. And what I do during my cash stuffing now is I simply divide these numbers into three. So, or as close as I can. So because the first one's the largest, you see here eating out 45, I will probably do like 25 and 10 and 10. Or, if it's like 50, again, I'm gonna do a larger one, like 25, and then maybe, 15. And so if you get the point, I'm gonna split it as evenly as I can, putting the larger amount on the first one. And I'll do those cash stuffing 3 times this next month. So here's my first one. I got it kind of set up, waiting for the numbers. And then here will be my second one. And then here will be my third cash stuffing. So, all right, so that's kind of how I'm going to do it. That's how you make sure to have a zero-based budget and all of your bills paid, and then all of your monthly amounts paid for and projected, making sure you're putting the money exactly where you want it to go and it's not telling you where to go, right? I hope that helped. If you have any questions on how to plan out your monthly budget, how to do those cash stuffings, please put them in the comments below, and I will go ahead and try to answer those as best as I can. As always, please find joy in the journey, and I will see you next time.